currently in the University of Limerick School of Architecture with the Women in Engineering Design Blitz on behalf of the Laurel Hill Secondary School.
Put it at its simplest, we're short of engineers. My concern is that a lot of them don't even consider engineering because they may have certain ideas that are not true to the actual experience. My hope is that some of them will realize, actually, this is a good fit. It is creative, it's highly social, it's collaborative, and I can do this.
So I'm actually kind of floating around between the groups today, so I'm just kind of putting an ear in here, putting an ear into another group and seeing. So what's very interesting is that there's 5 quite different projects.
So our job is to build a reservoir for a school in Kenya, and we have to solve all the problems around it. So how are we going to get it? Where's it going to come from? And all the different factors that are going to, influence how we build it.
Well, my group they were so energetic. They made up a song and everything. I think they really enjoyed it because they were just smiling and laughing all the time. One girl went outside even, we were making a filter. So she went outside and collected like dirt and stones and everything and grass and all that, and like made a little filter herself and then stuck it up on the little boards that we had for our presentation. So yeah, I think they really got into it and enjoyed it a lot.
Basically, we were given an area of Limerick City that we have to try and build a pedestrian crossing. And originally the first thing that would go to your head was a bridge. Then we came up with all these mad ideas like what was some of them? A roller coaster and things like that, a slingshot.
And I never realized there were so many ways to cross a river. And then when we were checking things off and going what's practical, what's not practical, a lot more things went into that than I thought it would, cost and environmental impact and aesthetic that I never thought would go into building a bridge.
So the girls we were working with brainstormed for the first hour and a half, I'd say, and there was lots and lots of ideas. And what they did decide to focus on was the cable car. And then they decided they had all their posters drawn up and all their designs, and then decided to design a prototype for the day for the presentation, which they did, and it looked very well. I must say, they just designed it out of cardboard and string, and that's how the creative side comes into it, really.
You can see it yourself. Once we start taking out the pens, once we start taking out the materials, all of a sudden the ideas and concepts that we're trying to explain to them, they're now putting pressure on the sticks. They're now feeling the materials. They're starting to think about weight, efficiency. They're now looking at having openings and flood levels and using precedents.
I think there was 2 of us that were mentoring the young girls from Laurel Hill. Our project was to design the POLLOCK hose in Limerick City and Kilkee. It was really interesting. I think they kind of learned about the process of designing something, the brainstorming, the picking out the idea, the maths.
I think the girls got an appreciation for that engineering isn't just sitting in a corner doing the maths. They got a bit of an idea that you can be as creative as you want to be, the numbers just have to stack up.
We were given a profile on an elderly woman and the problems she has in her daily life, and we were to try come up with a product to help her. So we've decided to build a watch, and it's kind of a thing that will help her in her daily life. So if she falls or if something happens to her, she can press the watch down and it'll send a message to a contact person, and then they'll either go get emergency services or they'll just come and see if she's okay.
Just to break down that barrier, to make sure, get rid of that confusion, saying this is a course or any discipline for male and female, being able to help secondary school pupils to show going down the line that this could be something they'd be designing in the future. I think it's a key importance in their life, because this could be the turning point to whether they choose to do engineering or science.
We're working on a transport system for Calcutta because there's such a high population density and pollution. So we're trying to find a cleaner way to get people from A to B. It's important to get rid of all the misconceptions you have about it before you go in, because you could think it's just a desk job, but then you go in, you see how hands-on it is, and you could realise it's perfect for you. So I think it's important.
I think
kind of take away how great it is to work in a team and how even small projects like this can really affect people in real daily life.
I think it's very useful. Like when I was in TY, we didn't have that at all, and I was in an all-girls school, so we wouldn't have been overly exposed to, say, engineering. And even last year when you were like asked someone what's engineering, no one could really give you a clear answer. Whereas at least now after the Blitz, they'd have a good idea of what the course will entail and like what the career is really like, the designing of it and practicality and all the factors that need to be considered to make structure.
There's no one discipline taken into account here. They're taking civil, structural, mechanical elements, chemical elements. It's a funny career because you learn to actually open and talk about things and engage with as many people as possible. But we all typically fall for the trap at the start where we're like, I can do it all myself. And engineering is very much against that. It's you have to engage people, you have to talk.
It's really interesting. You get to spend some time with your friends and you develop your teamwork skills and you get to just be creative and we're down there with our hot glue guns and our straws and it's so much fun.
It's different.
It's different. It's a totally different experience.
I've definitely learned a lot more about teamwork and listening to everyone's ideas. This programme just opened my eyes to actually what engineering was about, so I definitely consider it a path I take in the future.
We have events like this to engage with students and to meet not just college students who are already involved in the industry, but to actually engage with transition year students. We get 14 students. That's what we have to work with right now. But hopefully if we're successful in this product, we can start rolling it out nationally and get all the different engineering companies and all the different societies to start getting out and engaging with secondary school students.
I think it's completely false that there's no creativity in engineering. Like you couldn't design some of the buildings and bridges that are out there without having some imagination and some flair for creativity. In my school, it just wasn't possible to have woodwork or metalwork or anything because we didn't have the teachers for it and there just mightn't have been enough interest, even though some of the girls would have been very interested. The only way we can overcome this is to get involved in projects like this, for Tom to be going out to schools and, showing girls what they can do. We all started from a base level and you learn the skills as you go. So don't feel like just because you haven't done these subjects you're disadvantaged in any way. You're definitely going to pick them up as you go along.
If you have a room of 10 guys as opposed to a room of even 8 guys and 2 women, it does change the dynamic, the communication dynamic in the room. And engineers solve problems, and they're solving problems for a lot of different people. But what I think is the most important is just that young women see engineering as a possible career for them as much as men do.
I feel like it was never something I would choose, but now maybe you can kind of see, maybe I can do it,
I really enjoyed it and it kind of just made me more eager to actually pursue a career in this. And these type of workshops help a lot of students definitely because there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to jobs and things like this can actually help you understand.